Pacific Ocean is bigger than our imagination. Even if there is a hole across the Earth in the Pacific Ocean on the coast of Chile, that hole will be on the other side of the Earth in the Pacific Ocean. Welcome again to JJ.thomson's videos. Viewers, there are 5 oceans in the world. The largest of these 5 oceans is called the Pacific Ocean, and it is spread over an area of 165 million square kilometers. You will be surprised to know that the total land of our world, that is, the total dry part, is spread over 148 million square kilometers, which means that if we remove the other 4 oceans and talk only about the Pacific Ocean, then it is much larger than all the mountains, deserts, jungles, and islands of our world alone. There are only a few islands in this entire ocean, and they are so small that they look like a dot compared to this magnificent ocean. And gold on gold, these are the islands on which most people have never set foot. In short, if a person gets lost in this Pacific Ocean, there is almost no chance of finding him. But today, you will know the real story of a person who got lost in this Pacific Ocean on his small boat, and that too not only for 10 or 15 days, but for a full 438 days. Yes, this person accidentally made a world record that perhaps no one would like to break even if they wanted to. This world record of spending the most time alone in the ocean was made by a person named Joe Salvador Alvarenga, who spent a full 438 days in the ocean, and that too on a small 7-foot boat. But the question is, how did he stay alive alone in the terrifying ocean for the last 14 months? But before that, we will know why he went to the ocean. This is the story of 2012, when this person named Joe Alvarenga lived in a small village in Mexico, Costa Azul. Joe was 36 years old at the time, and he was also an expert fisherman. On November 17, 2012, Joe set out on his small boat for fishing with a friend. His plan was to spend only 30 hours in the ocean, so there was not much luggage on his small boat. There was only one engine and a refrigerator in this 7-foot boat, in which he stored fish. Joe, who took only 1 day's food with him, did not know that his next 438 days were going to be the worst days of his life. He went 120 kilometers away from the coast of Mexico and set up his net in the sea. But at the same time, a terrible sea storm came there. To save his life, he left the fishing net there and ran back to the shore upside down. Running the boat at full speed for 6 hours, at 7 in the morning, he was only 20 kilometers away from the shore and he could see his village. He had left this storm far away, but now his luck had stopped working. At a distance of only 20 kilometers from the shore, his boat's engine broke down. Now he had neither a net nor a sail to control the direction of the boat. But he had a radio through which he sent his location to his boss and started waiting for his answer. But after that, what happened was the dream of every fisherman. Yes, while waiting for his boss's answer, his radio's battery also died, and now these 2 fishermen had lost contact with the outside world. Joe and his companion were still in shock that something happened that they had no idea about. The strong winds had started pushing them back towards the sea, and the shore they were seeing was slowly moving away from them. His boss also made a search party and found them in the Pacific Ocean, but it was too late. Because as the days passed, it was considered very difficult for Joe and his companion to survive. 5 days had passed since this incident, and the winds had pushed Joe's boat 450 kilometers from the shore. They had reached such a part of the sea where only water was visible in every direction. They knew that their boat was so small that it could not be spotted from a distance. Neither did they have a flare gun, nor could they set it on fire to give a smoke signal. That is, Joe's Alvarenga and his companion were well aware that their chance of survival was now less than 1%. The food they had brought with them was already finished, so now to fill their stomachs they began to catch the birds with their own hands, who used to come and sit on their boat or catch the fish around the boat and eat them raw. Drinking salty seawater can kill a person, so they started drinking rainwater in plastic bottles floating in the sea. But when it didn't rain for many days, they used to drink the blood of fish and turtles to quench their thirst, and that too when they were successful in catching them. Days passed and then months. It is difficult for us to even imagine the mental torture that these two were going through. In the end, Joe's Alvarenga's companion could not tolerate this torture and committed suicide 4 months later. Now Joe had no one to talk to on this small boat, and he fell all around and began to spend his life alone in the sea. If you look at the map, then according to an estimate, Joe was now in this part of the Pacific Ocean, and it is considered the quietest part of the world. Even cargo ships passed through here from time to time. It had been more than 6 months since he left the coast of Mexico, and during this time Joe had lost his companion, so he was very frustrated. One day, Joe saw a cargo ship passing in the distant sea. In the last 6 months, he was seeing the first ship, and as soon as he saw this scene, his hope of survival began to arise again. Joe pointed towards the cargo ship, but unfortunately, the crew of the ship did not see this small boat. And as soon as he saw it, his hope of survival turned around again. Imagine that after fighting death every day in the middle of the sea, when you finally get the support to save your life, and if he also ignores it and leaves, how will it feel? 11 months later, Joe had traveled 8,000 kilometers on his small boat. His clothes were torn, and he had only one underwear left to save himself from the sunlight. Finally, the time came when fate was kind to Joe. On January 30th, 2014, that is, after 14 months, Joe saw coconuts floating in the water nearby. He had understood that an island had come near where the coconuts were floating in the water broken by the trees. After a while, he really started seeing an island. He was afraid that this island would also be missed somewhere, so he jumped into the water and swam to the island. In the last 14 months, Joe had set foot on a land for the first time, and when he reached the island, he saw a small beach house in which the locals were present. In the last 438 days, Joe had contacted another person for the first time. This island was a remote island of the Marshall Islands, which is called Eben Atoll. And this island is 11,000 kilometers away from Joe's starting point. It was also Joe's fate that he reached a small dot in the sea near the island. Otherwise, if Joe missed this island, his next stop would be in the Philippines, which is also 5,000 kilometers away from this island. From there, Joe was sent back to his home, where another problem surrounded him as soon as he arrived. Yes, when he reached back, he published a book called 438 Days, but he was accused of killing his companion and he was sued. The same companion who committed suicide, according to Joe. I hope you will like and share this video of JJ.thomson. Thank you very much for your loving comments. See you in the next video.